Chapter 9. My last years as a DP. Me in Munich with my friend's dog. After graduation from high school, there was nothing to do in the camps. I went to the motor pool and asked for a job. They said they didn't have a job. I offered to work for nothing. It was so much better than sitting around idle. After several weeks, they put me on the payroll. I was an electrician, with of course no training. A Frenchman was a head mechanic. I was the only other one that spoke French there. Dad spoke enough French to get by while we lived in France, but he didn't speak it very well. This French head mechanic and I became friends. He taught me how to use milling machines, lathe, and other tools. Dad is the middle guy in the picture of the three men. During lunchtime and at home, I finished building my homemade scooter. The welder helped me with the welding. I used airplane tires and motorcycle parts that I found in junkyards. It was great to drive around camp. My dad enjoyed it too. Here we are in the 1950, riding in front of a Schleißheim hangar. Of course, we wanted to come to America, but every soul in every camp wanted to come to America. America is known as the Promised Land. With little hope that we would be accepted to immigrate to America, we applied for immigration to many countries: Australia, Spain, Morocco, Venezuela, and others. America wanted only professionals. My father was just a professional soldier. He had no other special skills. And as I explained before, we did not want to return to France. The government had become pro-communist. So the years went by and we languished in the camps. People got bored in the camps. There was not much to do. So we tried to make our own fun. Here, Kazakhs put on the horsemanship show. A soccer game at the camps. And here I am in front of our barrack at Schleißheim. Once I rode my homemade bicycle to Chiemsee Castle, which is about 40 miles from Schleißheim, near Munich. This is about the farthest I ever went by bicycle. I rode my bicycle all the way home yet that evening. Here I am, standing at the fountain in front of a castle. Once I biked to the Schleißheim Castle, which is between Dachau and the Schleißheim camp. Note the bomb damage on the right. I was so happy that I had my bicycle. It got me out of the camp and I was able to go on bike trips and see things. Here's one of the buildings in Munich. The building is just a shell after the bombing. And here I am at the river Isar, where it cuts through Munich. Often I would ride the back roads of southern Germany, and Munich was not that far away. I would ride into the city. Here's the Munich Rathaus, the city hall of Munich. Lots of buildings were destroyed all around it. Only a portion of a building on the far right remained. But the city hall had only minor damage. Here is Frauenkirche, one of the churches in Munich. This one had just been re-roofed due to bomb damage. In 1950, I was able to buy this cycle from a doctor of German descent. who lived in Munich. By now I had graduated from high school and I was working in the motor pool there at Warner Kaserne. I was still also making hot plates and selling them for 50 marks. I owned this cycle the last 18 months that we lived in Germany before we were allowed to immigrate to America in October of 1951. On these pictures, I'm motorcycling in Bavaria, southern Germany. A copy of my German motorcycle driver's license, which was issued in Munich. This is a renewal. The date on it is June 10, 1951. In 4 more months, we would immigrate to America, but I did not know that yet at this time. On this picture, I was 19 years old. One cycle trip in southern Germany, I came upon this castle near the city of Füssen. Though it was beautiful, it was completely deserted. And I took a cycle trip to the city of Berchtesgaden. Here are photos of the city and a cable car that used to go to the top of the mountain. Cycling near Berchtesgaden, I found Hitler's Eagle's Nest. The Eagle's Nest was Hitler's retreat in the mountains. Civilians were not allowed to visit this place at this time in 1950. And I cycled to Königssee, King's Lake, which is also near Berchtesgaden. This photo shows a monastery which is only reachable by water. It was a beautiful area and I was all alone. There certainly were no tourists at this time in Germany. Gas was still rationed and there were very few vehicles. At first, only doctors were allowed to get a vehicle. Then business people were allowed to get a vehicle for their business. I was able to get gas at a motor pool where I worked. There were probably 200 army trucks there that had thousands of gallons of gasoline. And my boss told me that I could take a couple of gallons every once in a while for my cycle. I only remember buying gas once when I was far away from home and running short. This is a field in Munich where the 1950 Oktoberfest took place. As I remember, this was the first Oktoberfest since before the war. The structures are temporary beer halls that were erected. The statue of Bavaria in Munich overlooking the field where Oktoberfest was. The 1950 Oktoberfest began with a long parade. All of the tradespeople were in the parade, dressed in their costumes, dating back to the Middle Ages. And the crowd of people there were all in their typical Bavarian dress. As I referred to earlier, in 1948, 2 of our Russian friends, the Chernyshovs, the father and son, who were both engineers that we had met in the camp, were allowed to immigrate to America. These were the 2 that gave Dad a job when we were living in Dachau, which allowed us to live in the Hanauer Strasse camp. In 1951, a few years after they got settled in New York and were making a living, they were able to sponsor us as immigrants. One day, in the early fall of 1951, we got called in to the camp administration. There, we were told that we were allowed to enter the United States. After 6 years, we had almost lost hope, and now, all of a sudden, Every displaced person dream in all of the camps in Germany was coming true for us. We were so happy. We were only allowed to pack our clothes. While I worked in a motor pool, the people who worked there would bring boxes of tools that had been sunk in a Normandy landing and now were being salvaged. They were all in Cosmoline, and I needed to clean them up. But after we cleaned them up, if they did not need them at the motor pool, the employees could have them. So during the years I worked in a motor pool, I had already collected a nice set of tools. Now I had to give them away. And I sold my motorcycle and my bicycle. And I gave my notice at the motor pool. The supply and maintenance officer wrote a letter of recommendation for me that I could take with me to America. The Synod of Bishops of the Russian Orthodox Church in Munich gave my parents a certificate assuring the Orthodox Church abroad that they were members in good standing. After a few days, we went to Bremerhaven in northern Germany by train. Here are pictures of my parents on the train on their way to Bremerhaven. I was standing outside at the train station in Munich taking pictures of them already on the train. And here we all are on the train.